Can you hear us? If you got a mic, be sure to unmute. Introduce yourself. Marcel, you've been to some new tracks. I'm loving this winter track tour that you're doing.
Yes.
It's a
But
reason to do some new tracks, yeah?
yeah, and we love the new one, so it's really cool. It's still hard for me because I'm falling really behind, but I am having fun, and that's the only thing that counts.
And I'm telling you what, by doing more and more tracks, you're going to have so much more fun. Just because of the new challenge, just because of a variety of things to work on. And it doesn't become repetitive. It's always a challenge, you know? And you're challenging yourself. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, and having fun with it. Yeah, it's a really terrible track for me still, but we'll get on with it.
What's up to everyone on the Instagram chat? What's up to F1? What's up to AC Boy? We've got YouTube going as well. Be sure to send a hi. I'll be pinning your comment on the screen if you're commenting on YouTube. Who caught the podcast, Race Talk?
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Who caught the podcast? I know you saw the replay, I think, Marcel,
Yeah,
Race Talk.
I saw the replay. Yeah, and I obviously made some comments about relating to some stuff in it. And it's a really nice guy, it seems. So that's also very nice to listen to.
Well, your contribution and comments are always valuable. We appreciate your feedback. And the aim with Race Talk is to get different karting insiders in. So what this will show drivers is not only something good to tune into in terms of a podcast style of thing related to karting, but then what different drivers do to prepare for their races. What races are they involved in? What's their sort of mindset behind their driving? How does their preparation look like? And when you can listen to different drivers in different categories of karting, it's always valuable. So then you could try to maybe implement certain things into your own driving and try some things out. And then also it's good to find out about how they took the next step. So like Jake, he just turned up at a public session one day, really enjoyed it, and the next thing you know, there was opportunity for him to drive in the league, and then from the league he went on to do endurance racing, and now from endurance racing he's part of a team, and that team are going to do international races. So across the course of a year, he's really made strides, and there's no reason why you guys can't follow that step as well. What's up
Uh,
to Lucas on Instagram as well? Sorry, Marcel.
no, I want to say my ambition is a bit lower regarding my age.
Hey, we're all here for different reasons,
Yeah,
but it's we all do karting at the end of the day, which is awesome.
absolutely.
What's up to Nicholas? Welcome to Track Help. Hope you're doing well, Nicholas. If you have a mic, be sure to unmute. We'd love to hear from you if you can. What we're gonna do, guys, is just go over today's submissions. Now, what we're going to do over the course of the next hour is review a couple of laps of Jeremy's race. He actually had a very intense sprint race at Daytona Sandow Park. We're then going to go over to Raul's race start. Some interesting moments, I'd say, on the first 3 laps for sure there. And then we're obviously going to come to Marcel, who's trying out a different indoor track. And if we get time, we're hopefully going to round off with Harry. He's put some more DMAX footage, wet DMAX footage, which we'd like to ask him exactly what he wants to go through. Marcel, we mentioned in the comments, this is first submit, first review basis, but also first attend, first review basis. So we're going to get started with you.
Oh, you don't want to wait for Raul?
Well, Raul is going to join at some point. He might be having his dinner because that's what he normally, this is, I think, evening time for him. So not to worry. We're going to go through. Is it Uden Karting?
Uden, yeah, that's really good.
I'll take that first time.
Oh yeah, it's good enough. As you can see behind the chair in front of us, it's a propane cylinder. So it's
So these are
propane
quite
based.
popular then, right?
Yeah, they are.
In Netherlands, I mean, in other tracks I've seen that before, but is it cheaper for them to run it like that? What's the practicality like?
Yeah, I guess it's cheaper, and it doesn't weigh anything except for the cylinder. But karting wise, I don't really notice anything except the last week it was empty and they couldn't see it, so I stranded in the last round.
Gotcha. This is obviously a different track. You're used to the karts, maybe not the layout. So, what was the overview of the day just before we go into the nitty-gritty analysis part? Was it a couple of sessions? You booked 2 or 3 sessions with your
No, two
son?
two sessions, just to get used to the track. You got my son in front now, and this one is hard. This one is really hard because you're.
Tell me.
Tell me.
No, I was
Ask
just
me.
gonna go through the just find the
Initial.
start line real quick.
Oh, you cannot find it. That's really hard. That's why
Okay.
I choose the real second. They pointed out where the measure line should be, but there is no real start line.
Okay. Is there like a timing line though? Where
There is a timing line, but it's not really clear.
mm-hmm.
I really had to ask for it. You can see all those lights here and there. That's for yellow flag, blue flag. They're actually using those things. And maybe you can stop.
Let's go back.
A little bit back. The one on the right, just by pit exit, that seems to be the point. So a bit further, a little bit further.
Gotcha.
There it is.
We're talking somewhere over here.
On the right side, and you got a bit up and left. That's too much.
Yeah.
No, on the right. Yeah.
Sorry, on this side.
You see the orange thing there on the.
Yeah.
No, and then to the left you see an orange lamp, and yeah, there it is, and a blue part.
Perfect.
That seems to be the line, but I'm not really sure.
Gotcha. I'm actually just going to go to the exact timestamp as well, like you mentioned, because you've got an overview of your laps. Was 6 minutes and 4 seconds in the video one of your best laps?
Yes, it was. It still wasn't really good, but it was good enough for me because my pace was really consistent.
Yeah. Start of the lap.
This is the start of the lap.
Right into a left. We got a fast right. It's an interesting technique you're using for braking as well, which we'll come to. Tight left into a tight right. Back into a left. And a bit of chance to put your foot down before
hard brake. Short brake.
It's an interesting configuration, very tight, but they made a lot out of the space they have.
Yeah, it's quite long as well. So this is really hard to do correct because
it's
you
almost
need this exit speed. Yeah, it's very tight.
Back end of the lap coming up about now.
You need to be aggressive here, and this is the second lap, and that's my best lap of that day. A bit closer to the apex here, so that's good. I fucked that one up. Sorry. He's letting me through, so that's cool. I thanked him.
It's still going, yeah?
Yeah.
I believe, because again, you're right. You can easily miss the timing line. I've also got confused. I think it's just over here, right? We've just it. This is basically a 45 seconds lap time, you can say.
I don't get it. I got a 46 high, but
46 high. Okay.
Yeah, the ultimate high of a track record is 42.88, but that guy drives every week 4 or 5 sessions, and he's really good.
Yeah. And it's interesting, is back-to-back laps you're saying were pretty good. So
my back-to-backs were So this is the one where I dropped below the 47, so that's
excellent.
Good
this is the
me.
fastest lap, basically.
Yeah, it is.
You got someone in front, maybe it helps with pushing, like catching
No,
them for a sector.
it always helps when you're chasing someone because you're gonna push a bit harder,
Yeah.
a bit too wide here, and here you really need the revs, and you need to drive really aggressive because the steering input is very sluggish. It's not really, and this one you need to take care. You need to be slow in, fast out, but in that really tight chicane
Mhm.
thing, it's really important to go in slow.
It was good to see you driving there, especially on 2 flat out laps. Uh, Coming back to the indoor track, you'll get more grip as the session goes on. I don't know if you felt that across the different heats. There's more and more grip.
Oh, absolutely. It was really cold. Outside it was -4. So,
Yeah. Oh, you were
but
grateful to be indoors.
yeah, and the grip was really, really okay.
What we're going to do is go over that chicane sequence, and I'm going to compare let's call it lap 1 and lap 2.
Hmm.
So chicane is basically middle of the track, you'd say. We're coming up to
Uh, I think through third
two
maybe
thirds. You're
because
right.
it's
After this double
yeah,
hairpin, and it's
because the chicane after that you really need the exit speed because it's flat out after
yeah.
that. Yeah, this one, and I want to try to smooth it and go straight as possible,
Mhm.
but I need the turn to the left, so I really want to end up a bit more right, but I can do it.
Yeah. Just looking at the flow of the corners, it's a fast right, uh, left, right, and then eventually it's a tight left, and you'll see the exit. There's not much runoff over there.
No,
Just seeing, yeah, just seeing this lap in, just seeing this attempt in slow motion. Talk me through exactly what you were thinking about braking. Is there a specific point, or is it on feeling?
no, it's really on feeling, and I think I lifted here.
Yeah, this was. If you watch your left foot, it's a slight bit of braking. You're slightly dabbing the brake. It's not a hard brake as per se, because you can see just there you release your foot. Okay, then we
But
skip.
just like the steering, it's not very responsive
It's not.
because
It's not.
no, it's not. The steering, you really need to yank it to the right, and this is really careful steering here. So and the input seems a lot,
Yeah,
but it's really necessary.
I thought the second time around you did it a lot better, because what I'm looking for is actually how close you're getting to the inside barriers. So, for example, it all starts at the first right, a lot closer this time, and what that allows you to do is form a natural straight path. What you'll notice is when it's a left right sequence like this, you have to turn earlier than you think, and also it's kart dependent. It looks like you got a lot of understeer on this kart, just because the handling doesn't seem accurate. What I can tell is you're having to turn slightly excessively. I don't know if that's what you felt. You were saying you had to yank it as well to turn.
Yeah. You really need to yank it. You need the
So
steering excessively.
yeah, so early turning, similar to what you're doing over here, again, closing the distance to the left. Now is the crucial part, because although we're at high speed, we got to prepare to have the best possible exit. So sometimes it's this zone of a corner where we need to be on the limit. So we don't want to be too cautious here by braking too early. We don't want to brake too late, which will mean we overshoot and go into that barrier. We want to hit that sweet spot. Just on this lap, if we rewind a couple of seconds or so, it's interesting. You're using the brake and gas technique. Were you at all playing around with both? Or was it just one
I'm
or the
really
other?
used to do that
Yeah,
on the outdoor track
yeah,
because when you hit a brake, the gas
hmm
automatically turns off.
yeah,
So I'm always pinned to the floor, except when you need gradually put some gas in. But normally I'm really flat out.
yeah. It's an interesting line that you've taken here, because what you're prioritizing is shorter distance. What you're doing is you're braking into the corner number one, dabbing onto the brakes just at the first right-hander, and then what you're doing is carrying the brakes, avoiding this right hand side of the track and just taking the shorter path. Remember, more weight, tighter line. That
Absolutely.
always is the approach we try to take. Something else you could try, maybe if you have a faster kart, maybe you have a better handling of a kart, is set up to be slightly to the left-hand side over here. So as we pass this left-hand apex, try and use a bit of the road over here. You may have to, aggressively dictate the kart to go slightly left. And from the left, come back to the right. These are subtle movements, not excessive. The logic behind that is if we can try to widen up the corner ever so slightly, then we can perhaps get better acceleration. How can we get better acceleration? By going from left back to right. Get your braking done slightly earlier as well. So from the left, as you cut across to the right, into the corner slightly wider. As you cut across the right, we're actually slowing down during that time. We're slowing down, we're making sure our entry is relatively in the middle, if not slightly to the right. And what that will help us do, because we've completed our braking already by this point, we can then try to get on the gas from a wide angle and then come back, cut across the track from the left-hand side, and hopefully get it's worth trying alternate lines through here, but generally I'd say you're prioritizing shorter path, which is always important at this type of corner.
Yeah, you don't get a lot of time in those chicanes because it's short, it's small, and
exactly. So what you got to do is almost work in slow motion. So you got to think, well, I got to lift earlier than I think, or I got to brake earlier than I think. That period of braking early or lifting early, you'll get rewarded because you'll be able to get on the gas so much earlier. The grip will be there. It'll be worth trying out. One more thing, just before we round off, which I noticed generally about your driving, was your actual braking technique. So a lot of these corners, you were trying to leave the braking to the last moment, and then, not putting too much brake, almost a dab of the brake, maybe for rotation. What you can try to do is do the opposite now, especially for some of these high-speed turns. So there's that specific hairpin I'm looking for. Do you know the one I'm looking for? It's after that long straight.
Oh yeah, you got it just a few seconds ago.
Is it just up here, perhaps? Or this is turn?
No, you're
I'm
way
far
over it already. Yeah. Oh yeah,
Okay.
it is. No, it is.
It was here.
Yeah, this is the long, straightish part.
Yep. Basically, first corner, you can say.
Yeah.
It's the one after.
Yeah,
that.
you need
Let's
to be on the
continue.
left if you exit that one, and then because the long last part is really a corner to the right.
I believe it is this one. Yeah, this is a very good one to look out for, because here I feel you got a lot more speed. And what you can do over here is just watch your left foot one more time. This lap itself. Were you perhaps using the Red Bull sign as a reference for braking, or one of these pillars? Or was it just purely on feeling?
You see that red thing? I don't know what it is, but I used the white one. But the most of the time I wasn't good enough on the right side of the track. So, and that's one of the points I can. So you see the orange little thing close to me? That's my reference.
Awesome. What you can try to do for a corner like this, widen up the entry as much as possible and try to go for a slightly earlier brake and prioritize early acceleration. See how that works out for you. Again, it's universal. You could try it on other corners at this track. Earlier the brake, early on the gas, and see if in these karts it gives you better exits. That's something you're obviously going to have to try out in the in your next session. I mean, is this going to be a local track of yours now? It's something you're going to be spending some more time doing more sessions
at least till February 15th.
Excellent. So plenty of time to try some things out. Yeah,
absolutely.
This session was good because you drove it. I mean, obviously for the first time, as you would firstly interpret it. What I would advise next time: earlier braking, early acceleration. See how that technique translates on this track with your style of driving.
Yeah, I would discuss that exactly with my son, especially for the chicanes.
Yeah,
I noticed I made a mistake just before that, and I was slower in, but I really felt I was faster out. So I think it will help, but I need to practice it first, of course. He was
absolutely.
1.3 seconds faster than me, so
Okay,
I hate that.
I'd love to see his footage. Maybe you, for one session, give him the camera.
And
The
we
next time
change
you go.
every week, so next Saturday he will be filming, and I
Okay.
will post it.
Oh, okay. You do it like that. Yeah, that's even fine. I mean, even session by session, because you do a number of them, you could just lend it to him
Yeah,
for one.
cool.
Was there anything else, Marcel?
No, I think I'm off to bed.
Have a good rest. Make sure you're recovered for next week's racing. Yeah, want to see you on track.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much again.
It's been a pleasure, Marcel. We're just going to take a couple of comments from the Instagram chat. We've got Checo. Is that Checo Perez? I doubt it. Checo's asking, how do you join this discussion? Well, you go to the KTips website, www.ktips.org. Head over to the Academy section. It's a free academy you can join. Send a request. Once you're in, then you're going to have access to this portal. The track help side, you're able to submit your footage, perhaps a track map, maybe even a question you want to ask. And obviously, the meeting link will be here, so you can join at the time and get your footage reviewed live and questions as well. We got VTC. What's up, VTC? And we got a nice comment on YouTube from Purple Slayer saying, I improved about 20 seconds. That's excellent. I take it you must just be starting in karting, because that's obviously when you make those huge gains, but that gives you a lot of confidence. So what I would recommend is keep up the practice and try to find out exactly what changes you made in your session that gave you the advantage, and keep them up. Well done to Purple Slayer. What's up, Jeremy?
Hello.
Welcome back to Track Help. What's up, Harry?
Hi.
Welcome back to Track Help. We missed you last week, Harry, actually, because we ran out of time. But we're definitely gonna get on track today. Do not worry. The plan is Jeremy and Harry. I'm gonna go through Jeremy's footage next. We're gonna go through a few laps of your race. I've already taken a look at it, and there's some points I wanna discuss with you. And then Harry, okay, I just saw your comment now. Maybe about halfway through, I noticed it was a wet race at Sandown also, but also in a D-Max. So 2 bits of Sandown footage to hopefully
First
round
time.
off today's session. First time as well.
Too striking the wet first time.
Wow. Well, we're going to go over the 4-stroke in the dry with Jeremy, and then we're going to come to you after that, all right? So just hang in there. Jeremy, this is a half-an-hour race now. If I remember, last week we just got the qualifying portion reviewed. This was a cold and overcast day at Sandown Park. Obviously, one of your most recent races. When was this? 2 weeks ago, was it?
I think so, yeah.
Cool. Main thing I want to discuss with you after initially reviewing the race, and we're going to review it once more together, is how to deal with other drivers, how to pick your fights, and just overall a few tips on racecraft. Talk me through at this race start though. What are you going for? Starting P4?
So I was just trying to send it down the inside. Hope I get some places.
Yeah. Race start, always be aggressive. I say it's the easiest chance to make up positions. It's also the time of the race where everyone is going to be so compact and bumper to bumper that, being a bit aggressive, it's not the end of the world. Other people I've seen are a lot more aggressive, where they're going to be bumping and trying to just basically free for all. So you don't worry to get your elbows out. Of course, there's a limit to that. You keep it clean. Marshals will hopefully be watching, but you got to make sure that you're you are pushing to the appropriate level of aggression. Now, it's interesting that there's a driver in the black suit, there's a driver in the white suit, and then just behind you now there's the driver in the red suit. You can say it's a four-way scrap for the win. The thing is, it's a long race. How many laps was it? Or how many minutes?
It's 20 minutes.
And what was the average lap time that day?
I think like low 52s or like high 51s, somewhere around there.
Okay, so basically just over 20 laps you're gonna get.
Yeah.
What you got to do is, now that you've obviously taken a couple of laps, it's important to pick your battle. Here, the drivers in front, they're going crazy. Like,
yeah, that black suit, he was always going defensive.
yeah. And I can understand, maybe he's very eager to keep his position. If I was him, I'd be working together with the guy in the white, tap up my helmet, say, let's get in front. The idea is you use the first lap. So basically, everything after lap 1 is about consolidating position and then pushing ahead to create a gap to those behind. So yeah, lap 1, we're going to be aggressive. We're going to, make up as many places as possible. Like in your case, you want to try to at least get to what, P2 or even P1, because you're close to the front. And then after that, just stick with someone that you can ideally stay on the line with. That's the key. What you don't want to do is get into a fight where, especially the leaders or your position, whether it's P3, P2, you're going off the line, you're defending. 1 minute he's on the outside, the other minute you're on the inside. What that does is gives everyone behind a chance to be in the fight, number one. And also, in terms of, I'd say race strategy, it's not the smartest move to make. So, for example, you got a huge gap to drive in the black suit. And if we skip a couple of frames, mid part of the lap, you're all bunched back up again, right?
Yeah.
What's going to be very interesting now is this happens for a number of laps. Back and forth. There's a bit of communication over here. Red helmet, red suit guys saying, no, let's work together. Let's get forward. When a chance to overtake comes, I mean, you go for it. You don't back off. But what happens is, keep an eye on the driver in the white suit. He's had a few laps. He's realized, okay, black suit driver is just going to be a handful to get past. He's going to try to make a move soon. All the meanwhile, it's good to see that you're keeping up in B4. Were your lap times faster in the race?
I think these lot were a bit faster than me, but I was keeping up for most of it.
And that's excellent, because when you're in a race, the best chance to follow the quick drivers is the beginning, and the fact that you kept with them is excellent. I'm really happy that not only you're giving them a battle, but then you're also improving your own timings. Yep, they're battling at the same time, so it's not the best path to follow, but it is what it is, kind of thing. White driver in P2 is closing up to P1. He's looking to make a move. And you can see for a couple of laps, they battle, and eventually coming into, you can say, turn 3, the left-hand corner, he goes in front. And now he's going to run with it. So what he's done is looked over his shoulder. He's like, these next few laps are going to be push laps. I'm going to have to stick to my line properly. He's judging the gap. Do I need to defend as much into this corner? Not really. He'll stick to his line. And over the course of half a lap, and now back to 1 lap, this is 1 lap later, you can see by sticking to the line, obviously pushing a bit more to create a gap, he's opened it up to about two kart lengths. Meanwhile, driver in red, who's just behind you, driver in black, you guys are going to be battling. And notice how much time you guys lose. This guy's dive bombing. That driver in black is still defending. Where's the driver in white? P1, he's way up the road. It's only been a couple of laps. So it's not necessarily wrong what you guys did. This is the podium. These are the top 3 places. Yeah, you're going to fight. But it's interesting. If you applied a similar strategy to what driver in P1 did, he has the pace, number one, but also he fought for a bit. He realized I'm not going to overdo it. I'm going to pick my moment to overtake. As soon as he overtook, he backed himself to have the pace, and then he ran with it. So he's basically in P1. You've obviously got the driver in black and the driver in red, and this was a close battle between you guys. It continued basically lap after lap. I thought you did well to hold on to your position. What were you doing through this part of the race? We'd say halfway.
I think
Trying to stick to the line.
yeah, I was trying to stick to the line.
Yeah. You know, break your race up into phases. So as we said, lap 1 is the attack phase. The second phase from lap 2 to about, let's say, lap 10 in your case, that should be about consolidating position, working together with someone, and trying to pull ahead. You'll see what driving the black has done, actually. He's done something similar to you, where he's trying to stick on his line and catch the guy back up in front, and he's done that. He's caught the guy up in white. And of course, it's a psychological game, because when the leader is out in front for a period of time and then suddenly the guys behind are closing him, you can see the gap coming down. As the leader, you'll know when someone's catching you lap after lap. And then when that gap is coming down slowly, it puts more pressure on you, and then eventually you fall into their clutches. So it's a good analogy to use there. But look at that, he's back on his bumper after just staying consistent for a couple of laps. Unfortunately, you weren't able to hang on with those guys. Technically, you're still battling for the final podium spot, yeah? First and second are gone, no worries. Let's try to do our best to hold on to P3. Talk me through this battle for P3 with the driver in the red suit.
To be honest, I didn't expect some of the overtakes he was going to make, so I wasn't really expecting it, really.
Yeah, I think what he realized, because the laps are, I mean, we're coming to the final 6 laps or 5 laps of the race. He's thinking, I've got to go for it now. And that is where your racecraft is very, very important. So what you got to do, I would say, do you recall what the gap was to 5th position? So the guy.
Oh, it was long. It was long gone. He was not catching up.
So you knew that. What you got to do then is your mission for the final 5 laps is to defend, however and whatever it takes. You got to hold on to your place. A couple of ways to. It's interesting. Despite the driver in red passing you, he's still saying, let's work together, let's catch the leaders. I think that's why he was adamant to get past, which is good strategy from him. But I would say the gap is quite big. You're gonna fight. That's what happened in this race. So yeah, get your elbows out. And this experience is priceless, though. Just going at it with someone for, I mean, you were battling from lap 1 to lap 25. So you're going to learn a lot of things. What you'll realize is the moment they start to open up slight bit of gap, or you might get a bit of traffic, you might make a mistake, then the gap eventually gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's the phase where you've got to stay switched on. You've got to try to keep it consistent. Don't overdrive, because the moment you do that and you do repetitive mistakes, or you get held up by back markers, then you're going to lose the driver in front slowly. So I'd say it was a good effort for P4. I think that's your best finishing position in a sprint race so far, right?
Yeah.
What do you think you can do next time to make the podium? I mean, you were in the battle there.
Yeah. I think I was just getting frustrated myself because I could see them pulling away. So I tried to like overdrive, like you said. I think that's what I did.
Yeah, that's very, very common. And what you want to do, even if someone is faster, try to stay on their bumper. And there's going to be parts of the track where you're equal on pace, and then there'll be that few corners where you're going to be like, he's pulling a 10th away because he might be entering wider, or I'm going a bit too fast and he's leaving me on the exit. So I just need to slow it down on the entry. What you do is use that almost as a ghost car, right? So if that was the driver in the red suit, I'm just going to lock in, follow him. And then it's a test of you as a driver. How consistent can you be? Can you follow him through? And that's the only way. Obviously, factors like making a small mistake here and there or getting held up by traffic. That's something you're going to overcome and get better with through experience. But I'd say the moral of this race is you just got to pick your fights, right? Plan to work together with other drivers when it's appropriate, and ultimately keep on doing them, because, as I said, this is how you're going to get better. So it's awesome that you're signing up for these sprint races. When's the next one you're planning to do?
Maybe probably early February.
Early February. So do you think the weather will be better? Maybe a bit warmer?
Maybe, hopefully.
We don't want any more snow. Has it snowed at all down in Sandown?
No, it's just raining.
Yeah, rain and almost 0 or negative Celsius, perhaps, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, cold weather. Keep me posted. Jeremy, would love to see some of your future races in the Saudi Sprint. Anything else before we move on to the next driver?
No, not really, but I think I'll be doing DMAX next year, so
Excellent. Meaning 2026?
no, when I'm 16, so August.
Perfect. What I would say is build up as much Saudi experience as possible, especially in these races. So when it comes to DMAX, it's a matter of adapting to the kart only. So you'll be used to the track, you'll be used to how these races work, how aggressive drivers are, and also you'll have a decent level. And then it's just about adapting to the kart after.
Yeah.
Let's actually watch some DMAX footage. We're going to move on to Harry. Before we do that, let's just take a couple of comments that we had through on Instagram. It looks like the main comment was from YouTube. We got Hayes. On March 9th, I'm going to have a training course at PGP Motorsports Park, an outdoor track. And it's my first time on an outdoor track. Do you have any tips? Wow, that's interesting. I assume you've only done indoor kart racing. But the key difference is find out what the track limits are. So at different tracks, they're defined in different ways. You're most likely going to come across solid curbs, rumble strips, also just a wider track as well, right? Indoor tracks tend to be quite tight and twisty. Outdoor tracks are generally wider. Doesn't mean it's going to be more pleasant to drive. I know outdoor tracks which are very bumpy and they've got banked corners, and wow, you get a sore back after. So be mindful of that. But naturally, they flow better, and as long as you're driving, you should be able to enjoy that experience. More than anything, if it's a training course, then use it in that, approach it with that mindset, right? You're there to learn. You're there to get as much knowledge as possible from those who are instructing you, and then do your best across the day. At the beginning, take in as much as you can of the track layout. Don't push too early too much. Obviously, as the more sessions you do, you're going to get more comfortable with the track, with the kart, and save it towards the end of the session where you can really start pushing and seeing your improvement. So main thing is enjoy the experience. Go in there with an open mind. You're there to learn. And with the guidance of those instructors, I'm sure you're going to have a positive experience. And yeah, let us know how it goes. Harry, I'm just bringing up your footage from Sandown. So this time we're going to be in the DMAX. When was this recorded, Harry? I think you're muted. Sandown Sprint, Sandown, right? I believe the audio as well on the file might not be clear. Can you hear us, Harry? I think it might not be there.
He said he'll be gone for 10 or 20 minutes in the chat.
Oh, okay. He's going to be gone for 10, 20 minutes. Okay. No worries. If he sees this, then because we're going to have to move on as we're doing, we're going to go through this footage. I mean, we're expecting Raul to join, but no worries. If Raul's not here, we will round off with a few laps of Sandown. Now, Jeremy, this will be insightful for you because this is what you're planning to do next. And you're going to do it at Sandown as well, right?
Yeah, I might join the championship as well. I'm not sure, but maybe.
Have you spoken to the staff there?
I will next time.
Yeah, have a chat with the staff. They'll tell you, what the registration procedure is, and then also, are there any drivers you're familiar with, who you go with?
No, I don't. Yeah, no, not really.
What you're gonna do as you slowly become more and more regular, you'll get to know other regular drivers, and just have a chat with them, especially after your race. That's the best time to speak to people because, yeah, you would have fought against them in the race, and then the conversation just starts from there. It looks like Harry must have done an open session for, I was going to say 45 minutes straight, but he's got a grid start, so it looks like the same format as yours. It's Harry's first time in the wet on a 2-stroke, and I can imagine how he's feeling. It's quite sketchy, if that's the word to use. Reason is the power band is very different to the Saudi. So, Jeremy, you probably noticed in the Saudi karts you can be quite aggressive with the accelerator, and then it'll eventually pick up, and then you get your you build up your revs. In the D-Max, you put your foot down, there'll be a slight delay, and then boom, the RPMs just ramp up quickly. So in the wet, especially, it's easy to lose grip. It's easy to lose the rear. It'll be interesting to see what kind of lines Harry's taking. Number one, he's starting quite high up, so he's obviously one of the quicker drivers in the session. And then there is also a couple of his mates, I think, around him as well. It's going to be a combination that, even in my experience of driving at Sandown, of a wide line or a normal tight line. So what you'll notice at Sandown is the inside curbs. Those you can really get onto and gain grip from. Have you driven in the wet generally at Sandown, Jeremy?
I have once, but definitely not as bad as this. The track's covered in rain.
This is crazy. No, I actually drove in conditions like this, albeit in the 4-strokes. But the curbs here can really help you, and that's what Harry's going for. He's trying his best to try to get to those inside curbs. If you can wrestle the kart and really be aggressive with your inputs to the right, then definitely you can eventually get to the curbs, or play it safe, stay on the outside, and similar to what 141's just done there. He stayed on the outside, he's benefited from the traction on the outside and the early acceleration, and then he's just able to get a boost out there. So key thing for you to know, Jeremy, then when you transition to the D-Max, the power band, so how you put your foot down on the accelerator will be different. What you want to do is avoid too much wheel spin, and also flooding the engine too quickly with revs. What will happen is if you put your foot down instantly, it can bog down very, very quickly. The other thing is pay even more attention to the sound of the engine. Obviously, these are louder, it's easier to pay attention to them. But yeah, just try to keep a consistent rate at all times and a high pitch. In terms of your braking, you can afford to brake relatively late in these karts. You can also find a blend between threshold braking, which is hard braking and then releasing straight away, and also trail braking to an extent. Generally, what we found, this is obviously preference, but I still prefer to go for almost a half trail brake, half threshold brake. So I won't be braking all the way to the apex of the corner, but I am braking hard and I am braking late, and being on the brakes, just for a few kart lengths or meters into the braking point, and then just releasing to get onto the gas early. You will be rewarded for better exits in these karts. So it's important you don't overdrive. It's important that you don't you don't try to get greedy with too much entry speed, because that will in return ruin the exit speed, and then you're going to be a sitting duck on the straight. So it was an interesting review of Sandown in the Wet. It would have been good to have Harry's back.
I'm
Harry,
back.
Harry, did you
I
just
was
come
gonna
back
say-
now? Did you just come back now?
Yeah.
Okay, because I'm watching the YouTube feed, so I can't see unless I change to the Google Meet tab if you're back. Just talk us through this from the race start, because I was just telling Jeremy, because he's going to be driving these soon, a couple of months' time. It's a wet race.
Yeah.
Looks a lot more than normal. They're still allowed you to race though.
Yeah, it was soaking. Sandown especially is a track which is it's quite bad. The surface isn't really great.
Yeah.
On the entry to turn 1, there's a huge puddle, and on the exit of the I think it's turn 3 here, there's another huge puddle.
I think you got taken by it in one of the laps, right? You went...
I did get
I saw
like
that.
absolutely swamped by it. Well, because I wasn't focusing and I went
Yeah,
flying into it.
Oh,
But
yeah.
it's quite. I mean, it was my first time, and so I came second in the end. Archie
Amazing.
is quite fast. He does DRS. So he came third in DRS. He was like I think 1 second quicker than me in the end. But I mean, he's a pretty quick driver in general, so that was expected. But a lot of the other drivers here do super champ, so they're quite quick.
Yeah, you did very well then for P2.
Yeah. I don't know, but Sandown is not that natural to me. I think the normal Sandown, for some reason, I'm quite good at it, but the alternate Sandown, I hate it. It's just not good at all. So, whenever I turn up to an open race, I do really good against the kind of what's the word, like people who regularly visit.
Yeah. The Super Jumps drivers even.
Yeah.
What was the going back to the session over here? What was the trick with wet driving compared to in the dry? Because you've done the dry over here. Or the biggest differences in your driving?
The biggest difference is probably like it's such a weird line. Everyone can take a different line and be just as fast. Like people can curb hook and take like different lines. It's really strange. I mean, Archie, for example, he kind of brakes quite late, and also kind of when he gets out of a corner, he'll like ride the wheel spin. He won't lift. Like he'll just stay flat on the throttle, which is something you kind of notice.
Yeah.
But mine was kind of just like drive normally and then just like turn and just wait for the grip to come to you and just take the late apexes, because literally all it is just like kind of hairpins here.
Hairpins. Outdoor Mitchum, you could say.
Yeah, exactly, to be fair. And they're not that far apart.
That's true. Who is this in the 145 and is it 144?
So I think the guy on the right, the guy just directly in front of me is Harry Skinner. He does super champs, I think. And then the guy in the black helmet, I don't know who he was. I mean, in the driver's briefing, there was these 2 guys that had their own stuff, and I thought, oh, okay, I got a fight that's going to be put up today. And then they were starting to talk about what the engine size of our Rotax is, so I was kind of scared. But I mean, we had actually have quite a good battle, because obviously Archie's very experienced, Harry's very experienced, and then so at the end it was just us 3 pretty much until kind of Archie just left us for dust, and I think the Harry got kind of involved with everyone behind.
Yeah, it's a good experience. I think from these months, this is what you're going to expect, right? At Sandown, this kind of weather.
Yeah, I'm planning to do this like unlimited sort of racing thing here.
I saw that. What's the
It's not very
that?
unlimited. It's just
Okay.
it's just 4 15-minute sessions for £150, which, to be fair, knowing Daytona, it's not that bad. But it's just practice, because Club 100, I'm a bit heavier, so I've got all the other drivers I'm going up against next year will be like moving up from super lightweight class. So you've got Jamie, who won super lightweights, so he'll be on the weight limit of lightweights, and then you got Dom as well, who moved up from super lightweights. He was very fast as well. So I've got a few kind of things up at Daytona to do, just to kind of get in the kind of zone for 2-stroke, because I have limited experience compared to them too.
Yeah. Well, this is the time to practice. This is the time to hone in your skills, and there's obviously different drivers you're going to come up against. It's a good format they offer, I think, at Daytona, with this qualifying and sprint. It always keeps it competitive. But just before we round off, what's the difference between D-Max and the Club 100 karts, since you're training in them now?
Still not racing them wet in a Club 100 kart.
Okay.
So I mean, in the last 2 years, they've never had like a fully wet round in Club 100 in the juniors. So which is quite interesting. But I've never seen it, and I've asked everyone, and they've all said they've never had like a fully wet Club 100 race. So the only experience I have is a bit of damp.
Yeah.
But the only, I think these kind of slide more. They're a bit more like slide. So like say at Milton Keynes, I think it's turn 7, like that kind of downhill long right. You can slide in it, but I think in a Club 100 kart, they're quite. I mean, they run very similar karts. Obviously, same chassis, same tires, same engine, pretty much.
Yeah,
But they
yeah,
handle still quite differently. Club 100, everyone's kind of got a different driving style for it. But I think the fastest one in Club 100 is just kind of like one kind of big full lock into the corner and then just kind of handle it from there.
Yeah.
But these, it's a lot more gentle now with the newer tires.
Well, it's always good to hear your feedback from these races. When is your next race that you're going to be doing?
So the next race is on the 25th of January. So Club 100 are doing a endurance race, 2.5 hour endurance race. So it's the final endurance race they'll be doing forever. So like they've quit all the endurance stuff. So they've offered like an endurance race to every single person that's racing Club 100.
Awesome.
So I'm going to be racing in the heavyweight class with a friend. So I'll see how I go with that.
Well, keep us posted, Harry, with that. It's been a pleasure as always. Anything else before we wrap up for today's session?
Yeah, so
it's always awesome to see your videos. Keep them coming. I'm not sure why my camera is not showing for a moment on the live stream feed, but it should be up there now. Just to round off today's session, guys. As we said, we're hosting these on Sundays through the KTips Academy. It's free to join. Head over to the KTips website and send a request to join. Once you're in, you're going to be you can have access to this portal. And on the track help post for that specific day, enter some footage, enter a track map, perhaps even a question, and then you can join this meeting live. You can chat with me and the other drivers and get some feedback about your driving. Until next week, guys, at 6 p.m. GMT. We hope to see you there live. Take care. Good night.